Hi all, welcome to Machine Coding Interview. I am Sanjay and in this course we will discuss the class diagram of cab rental system. So let's see how we can create classes from the requirements. So the first requirement is cabs can register in the system. Okay, so from this requirement we can see that cab can be created as a class in our class diagram. So I have created a cab class, okay, and which has these properties like registration number, owner, driver, available, vehicle type and rating. This type vehicle type is just a status. So we can add enums in the class diagram because this is not a complex object. Enum has just the values. Okay, so the representation of enum can be of two types, whether we can add in the class itself or we can create a dependency from class to enum. So in some of the modules I have created dependency from the class to enum, but this is also one way of showing the class and enum representation. Okay, so the vehicle type can be micro, mini, prime, sedan and hatchback. So these are the vehicle types for a cab rental system. Okay, the second requirement is customer can register in the system. So from this requirement we can see that system is the external entity for our cab rental system. System is the application itself, so for that we don't have to create any class, but for customer we need a class. So let's see the customer. So we have created a customer class which has a username, phone number, email, password, first name, last name and location. I think this location we can delete because the location is an object and we should show the relationship of an object to a class. Okay, so we have created a relationship of a customer object to the location. The next requirement is customer can book cabs. So from here you can think that the booking can also be created as a class, right? So we have created a class for booking, but that is not booking. For that we have created a trip. Okay, so if you'll see our class diagram, we have this trip and trip has this bill amount, the estimated bill, start date, end date and trip status. Okay, so whenever any customer is requesting for a trip, so instead of the booking object, we are creating a trip object directly in our system. Though we should create a booking object and a trip object separately. But in the large system, that is definitely one case where we use the booking object and the trip object. But in our cab rental system, to simplify, we have just created a trip object and with the help of this trip object only, we would create booking. Okay, but yeah, in the large system booking is required and for each booking there will be one-to-one relationship with the trip. Okay, the next requirement is locations can be registered in the system. So we can create a location class from this requirement. So we have created a location which has a name, latitude and longitude. Then cabs can accept or reject a booking. So we have created a trip for the booking, we have the cab class, and for accept and reject we have the trip status. So here if you'll come down, you can see the trip status which is cancelled. So this cancellation can be done by either the customer or by the driver. Riders can cancel the booking. So for riders we have created this cab class where inside this cab class we have this property driver. Okay, the next requirement is cabs can end a trip. So cab means the driver of this cab rental system. So for ending the trip and starting the trip we have just two properties which are the start date and the end date. So for starting and ending trip we have just used this variable start date and end date. Actually this should be start at and end at, which should be the local date time. Then riders can rate the trip. So for rating we have one more class which is called trip rating. So if you'll come here you can see that we have this trip rating, okay, where we have rating and review. System should be able to show the rating of cab. So this we can show by using trip rating. So for this we have not created any class, but from the trip rating we can extract all this data of a cab. Application should be able to show the history of a rider. So for the history also we don't have to create any class and we can show all the information by using the trip class. After a trip, system should be able to show the bill of a trip. So for showing the bill, we have created a bill property. So this trip will be using the price calculation strategy where we have this calculate estimated fare and calculate final fare. So by using these two methods, we will get this bill and the estimated bill. Before a trip, system should be able to show the estimated bill of a trip. So in the trip class, we have this estimated bill, which will be using the bill calculation strategy for calculating the estimated bill. System should be able to show the location of cab. System should be able to show the location of a driver, and system should be able to update the location of a cab. So for this we have created a location class, and in the location class we have this name latitude and longitude. Okay, so these are the classes for our cab rental system. Now we will see the relationship between all these classes. So there will be one-to-one relationship between a trip and trip rating, because for one trip there can be only one rating given by the customer. And this will be a composition relationship. Why this is a composition? Because without trip there will be no trip rating object will be available in the system. If we are deleting the trip, then the trip rating will also be deleted. Then there is one-to-many relationship from a customer to trip, because one customer can do multiple trips, and in one trip there will be only one customer. We are not allowing carpooling or multiple passengers in one trip, and that's why this is one-to-many relationship. Okay, if we had allowed carpooling in our system, then it would have been many-to-many relationship. The next relationship between the cab and the trip. Okay, so the relationship between cab and a trip is one-to-many relationship, because one cab can do multiple trips, and for one trip there will be only one cab. Okay, then in the cab and the location we have many to one relationship, so this is not required, we can delete this. So there should be only one relationship between a cab and a location. Okay, so one cab have only one location, but in one location there can be multiple cabs, and that's why we have many to one relationship here. And then in a trip and a cab there are many relationships. Let's see them one by one. So the first relationship is for the source. For each trip there will be a source, okay, and one location can be source for the multiple trips. In the same way, for each trip there will be a destination, and one location can be the destination of multiple trips. For each trip there will be only one current location. Okay, so this is only one-to-one relationship. Now we are using aggregation relationship here. Why aggregation? Because the construction of the trip is not possible without the source or destination or the current location. Okay, and why we are not using composition here? Because the location object is not created by the trip object, and location object can be used for customers also, for the cab also, and that's why this relationship is aggregation, not composition. Okay, location are a part of the trip, and deleting the trip does not ensure the deletion of the location. Now each trip is using a cab assignment strategy which has two implementation. One is rating based cab assignment strategy, and one is distance based cab assignment strategy, and these two implementations will be implementing this assign cab method. The trip will also be using the price calculation strategy, which is having two methods, calculate estimated fare and calculate final fare, and these two methods will be implemented by distance based price calculation strategy and time based price calculation strategy. Okay, and other than this we have two enums, which is trip status and vehicle types. So the trip status can be not started, in progress, cancelled and completed. Okay, so remember one thing here, we can also create a booking object here, and the booking will be having one-to-one relationship with the trip, but just for the simplicity I have created only a trip object. Okay, in larger system without booking it is not possible to create a cab management system. Yeah, so that's it from this video. See you in the next chapter.